put a couple different activities in here for you to look at. But it's going to be about what we were talking about with the Constitution. Remember when we were talking about the branches of government? We have executive, legislative, and judicial. That's going to be the main idea. Um, Pick any one of these to start with, and I'll explain more. That one there? Okay. Let's go ahead and hopefully we can get logged in on your computer. I didn't think about my cell phone being occupied. Let's open up a new window. What we're going to do here is we're going to compare and contrast Brazil and the United States in terms of how their government is laid out. So may I? Thank you. Similarities. Between Brazil and the U.S. government. Now, I already know a little bit about it. I know that the United States was a colony of, just one minute, we'll take a look and see which one looks the best. The United States was a colony of Great Britain, right? You know that. We've been talking about the Revolutionary War. You know that Brazil was once a nation that was controlled by Portugal, right? Mm-hmm. Your native language is Portuguese. And they had to do something similar to in Portugal with what America had to do back during the Revolutionary times and gain their independence. Now, their constitution was written kind of recently, I think just in the 1980s, if I'm not mistaken. Let's take a look and see if we can find that online. I'm going to open up another window here. When was Brazil Constitution? Yeah, 1988. October 5th, 1988. That's when the official document was put pen to paper, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
How important do you think it is that something like that gets recorded? Like, it's just a piece of paper, right? Isn't it? Is it more important, do you think, the piece of paper, or do you think it's more important the attitudes of the people?
I don't know.
I think that the document just kind of reinforces something that's already there. Just putting it on paper kind of makes it more real. You know, and nowadays it seems like kind of maybe almost a little bit silly that we invest so much concern for something as simple as a piece of paper with words on it, because we don't share information like that anymore. But back when the United States Constitution was written, that was a really important thing. It was an important document for the United States. It's how they decided they wanted their government to work. To say that there was going to be a federal government and then there was going to be individual state governments working separate but together. And Brazil's actually set up like that. There's a word for that. It's called federalist or federalism, where you have a system of government that is central and maintains a level of order of the bigger picture, and you have subsidiaries or states or whatever that work underneath the federal government. So that's probably the biggest thing. The biggest two things I can think of here between similarities would be that both of them were colony countries that had to gain their independence, and that they both kind of have a federalist system where they have a larger federal government that maintains smaller states, but they also have their own say in things. So, moving from this point, you really have two choices on the board that would make the most sense to try to get all three of your spots done. You could go up here, or you could go right here. I'm gonna be honest with you. This way is probably a little bit more fun, but you do whatever you want to do. I'm gonna tell you what there is, just in case. Teacher and student will work together to create a Venn diagram that measures similarities and differences between branches of government and a soccer team. So we're going to compare and contrast the two. This one here is a timeline. I'm going to have you just look on your Chromebook and try to put some dates down on a timeline that I've already got put together. That one's honestly going to be a little bit more fun, but it's your decision. Timeline's a good idea. All right, you've got your Chromebook there. I want you to look up these 4 different events and just put the date that it happened. So if you want to open up a new window on your Chromebook,
Mhm.
and when I'm researching something like this, I would probably just keep it as simple as what year or something like that. So can you type in what year?
Mm. Brazil?
What year? Como año?
Mm.
Here, I'll help you.
Mm.
No problem. I'm asking Google, what year did Britain recognize the U.S. independence? So pay attention to how I've organized that statement. You see how I started that with what year did? You can do that for all of these. What year did this? What year did this? What year did this? It's a good way to investigate using Google. Those three words in this context. What year did? But it could also be which person did. You understand? Being able to articulate your ideas on Google can be that simple, just with kind of how you structure things. 1783. Okay. The first year in our timeline, if you want to write, just write it right there on the line. 1783. So now we know that in the year 1783, Britain officially recognized the United States as an independent country. Now, do you know why that probably was?
No.
Because we had won the Revolutionary War. We didn't just ask nice. It took a pretty large scale event to bring that together, but that was what kind of precipitated that. Let's take a look at our next one here, the Shea Rebellion. So what the Shea Rebellion was isn't necessarily important, but it showed that there was a lack of a federal response. And people got together and they really started to question the existing government that they had in America, because this is before the Constitution. This is the timeline leading up to the construction of the Constitution. So let's do it. We're going to keep the same thing here. What year did? And let's type in Shea Rebellion happen. Easy enough, right? You just take the main ideas and ask it what time it happened, and then we can figure out what time to put on our timeline. What year did the Shea Rebellion happen? 1786. So we've got another point of reference on the timeline that we can enter. You don't have to put the month and the day. We're keeping it simple. This is a very loose timeline. All right. So the next one, the Constitutional Convention was held in Philadelphia to debate the design of a new founding document to guide a balance of power. So this was after these people had gotten together and started to think that they needed to question the government. They got a little bit more serious about it, and they had what they called a Constitutional Convention, and it was held in Philadelphia. So let's see what year that happened. We can keep the same prompt in Google. What year did Constitutional Convention happen? So this is when people got together and decided that they were really going to change things. Do you see the date there? May 25th, 1787. So you can see how the numbers are going from smaller to bigger, right? And that's how a timeline would work. This was before, in the future, and we have one last spot here. The year the Constitution went into effect. What year do you think that that's going to be? The first one? Yeah. You think you can handle it? What year did Constitution go into effect? Good job, man.
Coach.
Effect, EFFECT. Great. (1788). You got your last time there. And so if you look at your timeline, they all line up, right?
Mhm.
In 1783, Britain recognized the United States as an independent nation. After the Shea Rebellion, people decided that they needed to have a better government. 1787, they got together to talk about what that government should look like. And in 1788, that was when the Constitution was actually written and put into effect. This is a simple timeline, man. Good job. Does it make sense? I know there's a lot of information packed in here, but you understand it started small and got bigger, right?
Mhm.
Over time. Excellent job, man. Cool. Now look, you can go back if you want to do that way, but I mean you're trying to get tic-tac-toe, so you're only one position away. So I would recommend strongly just going here for that, and tic-tac-toe is complete.
Um,
Okay, we're going to go out of order. That's excellent. I'm actually really glad you picked this one. So I've got a couple words in Portuguese that I want to challenge you with, and see if you can explain to me what they mean. And I think I have a loose understanding of what their definition is. And I might be trying to be sneaky. I'm trying to give you some what I think are going to be difficult words in Portuguese. It's something you might not know. So maybe you know them all, and I'm going to be super impressed. If you don't, that's okay. And we have your computer there, so we can figure it out together if necessary. So I can't say that right probably. Desenrascanco. What's that mean? Can you tell me in English?
what this?
Yeah.
I don't know if this is Portuguese.
Okay. That's what it told me on Google that it was. And they told me these first couple words were very difficult to translate into English. That they were kind of like almost uniquely Portuguese. And that there wasn't really necessarily like a one word translation. Like you could sum it up in a little like sentence, but not really in a word. Now this one, I think you're going to know. Farofa.
It's you eating for with the hungry, but that's it's, I don't know. That you use it for eating. That's with the rice.
Okay, so it's a food that you eat with
Yeah.
rice.
Yeah, it's a food.
So it's like a Brazilian dish.
Mhm.
Do you know what the main ingredients are besides rice?
Yeah.
I don't, so I mean, if you can tell me, that's great.
Yeah.
What are some of the ingredients that go into it? Meat?
Oh
Any kind of vegetables or anything? No, just rice and meat. Okay, so it's like a meat dish with rice. Got it. How about this one? Futo volet.
yeah. It's you the ball the volley.
Yeah?
Use it no hands. It's
No hands, only with
Yeah.
foot.
Yeah.
So it's like volleyball but with your feet.
Yeah.
They said it was like a uniquely Brazilian thing.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Desabafor.
It's it's you make it this for person is this.
I think that's the one that in English we would say that to like unload or unburden. Like you get a load off your chest. And I didn't know really, honestly. I wanted to ask you. I didn't know if it was like literal, like I'm carrying something heavy. Is it like you're physically carrying something heavy and you are relieved from that, or is it more like in your mind and in your heart? Is it like an emotional burden, or is it usable for both?
Yeah.
You think you can use it for both? So if I'm carrying something heavy, would it be desabafor if it's so heavy?
Yeah.
And I get it down, so it applies both. Well, I understand a little bit more there. How about calorento?
It's for food.
For food?
Yeah, that's you use it for in your beef and your
Okay.
chicken and your, I don't know. You use it.
So it's like a condiment or
Yeah.
something? Okay. All right. Now I asked you this one in class, and you knew it. Mergulhar.
Yeah, it's
It's diving for
Yeah.
for like a swimmer, right? Would you say the same if you were in a plane and the person has like the parachute for in English is skydiving. Would you say mergulhar to describe that, or no? Is it different? It'd be the same?
Yeah.
Okay, I got one last one, and I'm not going to try to pronounce that one. Enzoqueca? You know that one?
No.
Okay.
Uh,
You know in English a very powerful headache. Do you know what it's called in English?
no.
Migraine. It's a migraine, yeah, migraine headache when it's very intense. And that is supposed to be the Portuguese word for that. So I think we both learned some Portuguese words in this exercise, and that's awesome. Excellent. Well, cool. That was pretty much it. You got your tic-tac-toe. Are there any other ones that you'd like to check out while you got it here? Constitution was about. So I've got 4 points here drawn for you.
Mhm.
And I want you to think about the 3 branches of government that we talked about. The executive branch, the judicial branch, and the legislative branch, right?
Mhm.
I want you to use a pencil or a pen, and I want you to try to connect these 4 points with those 3 lines that represent the 3 branches of government without lifting your pencil up. And you can't take a shortcut here through the middle. That's what that big X is for, because you can't take shortcuts in government because you're not going to get the thing you want. So try to connect these 4 dots using 3 lines without lifting your pencil up. I'll give you 30 seconds. It's difficult. Look, I'm going to tell you right now, you've got to think outside of the box, literally. You've got to literally think outside the box. 1, 2. That's your 3 lines.
Yeah.
You didn't connect them all.
No.
No, you only get 3. 3 branches of government: executive, legislative, judicial. It's meant to be sneaky. Can I show you? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah? 1, 2, 3. Did I cheat by going outside?
Mhm.
No, that's okay. Sometimes you have to think outside the box. That's okay. Thank you for doing this exercise with me, Archer. I really appreciate it. Let's get back to Miss Warren's class. Thanks again. I really appreciate you doing it. I think that's your pencil. Don't forget your Chromebook.